world. This is Chip back at you from RVA Vapes, and today talking about the Kylin Mini. So today we're talking about the Vandy Vape Kylin Mini RTA, and this one is a single coil version. As far as I know, all the Kylin Minis are single coil version, but maybe that's just a little reminder to let you know. Let's bust this bad boy out. So, you get your tank, bubble glass, which gives it a 4 milliliter capacity versus the 2 milliliter. You got a fancy resin drip tip, or you can have this black Delrin one, which is kind of nice. And they are goon style, so the O-ring is not on the drip tip. Then you got your bag of goodies right here. If I can get it out. There we go. Get the infamous blue screwdriver, a Allen key to tighten down your posts, and then some more O-rings, grub screws, and a 510 drip tip adapter. The other thing that's nice is they give you a fused Clapton coil in the kit. Look at that guy. There's your fused Clapton coil right there. So, comes with everything you need except for juice and cotton. Now we're going to take a look at the design of it. You can see the airflow right here. Nice large airflow channels. And when you take the top cap off like this, you can see that it's got easy juice fill ports. Now this, guys, is really what the coolest part about this whole tank. It's got like a 180 degree half pipe of airflow. Bunch of little holes drilled in a U shape that are going to allow the air to touch every piece of that coil. And then when you look at this part, you can see it's got kind of a domed inner part of the chimney. And the chimney is all one piece up to the wide bore drip tip. Now I'm going to give you a sped up version of how to change it to the 5 milliliter capacity, and this way you can get the most juice capacity out of your tank. Very simple, as you can see. One of the coolest parts about it, as I said, is the chimney's connected to the top cap, so you don't have to worry about that two-piece deal like the other one had. And then, with it being a goon style drip tip, it's a little tough to get off, but you can see the O-ring in the top, not actually on the drip tip itself. Alright guys, so we're back now and we're talking about this Kylin Mini from my boys at Vandy Vape. Now, we were one of the first ones that really pushed the original Kylin here, and really liked the flavor, really liked the vapor production. They did have some production issues as far as the fact that some of the press fits on the bottom cap didn't really seal properly, so they were getting a lot of leakage or seepage, whatever you want to call it. They did end up fixing the issue, but by then the tank's reputation had already bit the dust. So, really interested when this guy came out, because my personal Kylin that I bought never had any problems with it. But a bunch of them that we did have that came through the shop here had various issues with the seepage problem. Some of them we got the bases replaced and it was cool. Some of them the replacement bases didn't work. Anyway, the point is, it's reborn and it's better than ever. Alright, so first thing we're going to talk about is our size comparison. So put it up next to the Blitzen here. You can see a little bit shorter, about the same diameter, but holds just as much juice, which is kind of cool. The airflow is really unique, but we're going to talk about that in a second. I just want to give you the basics on it first. Measurements, you're looking at 24.4 along the base here. It's, what is it, 35, give or take, from drip tip to the base. And then you've got your 18 millimeter drip tip right here. Now this one's with the bubble glass, so it gives you 5 mils of juice capacity, whereas the straight glass gives you the normal 2 for TPD compliance. It does come with a cool, stylish black, or you get the fancy acrylic colored drip tip, which is super dope. So a couple key features that we want to make sure we go over with this guy is that it is single coil specific. It means you can only put one coil in it. You can remove the build with juice in it. Now, the key feature on this guy that I want you guys to really dig into is, you see that honeycomb pattern underneath the coil there? That's your airflow, right? So I showed you in the up close the honeycomb, but this is what it looks like with a build on it right here. So you can kind of see, let me get it to focus, there we go. So you can kind of see the little honeycombs, and that's exactly the width of the coil. So that's where your best performance is going to be. Now, where the wicks are on the sides is actually where your screws are. So you screw down in there, drop your post down like that, tighten them up, very simple, and then just run your cotton through there. And you want to make sure it touches all the way down, but you don't want it to be packed in there. You want to keep it fluffy. That way it can wick faster through this larger single coil here. You can see there's plenty of space left on this deck. Now this coil is about 3.5 millimeters, but this thing could easily handle a 4, maybe even a 5 millimeter single coil on here. The way they designed this deck makes it super easy to build, and I've been running this one for a little over a week. And you can see, and I can tell you from my personal experience, it does not leak a drop. Now, one of the other things I showed you is that top cap on the inside there. So they had to flatten out part of it just to keep with a reasonable juice capacity. But they gave you that domed part because that's really going to accentuate the flavor and help the vapor kind of roll up in through the drip tip, if you will. One of the other cool design elements I like about this guy is that the chimney is connected to the top that holds the glass on, so you don't have to worry about that separate inner top cap that you need the tool to tighten down. Sometimes it would come loose, sometimes it wouldn't. So they revised that in the mini version, which was really a smart move, I think. But you do still have this nice knurling right here, you can see. So if you need to fill it up, you just twist the top and you don't have to worry about anything else coming off. It's all one solid piece down to the chimney there. And you can see same big juice flow holes on the inside, nice full metal cap, so you don't want to overfill it because it is kind of cut in, if you will. And then you still have that knurling there, so you can tighten it down. And it's good to go. I've got this on my new USV arc mod at about 36 watts, and it's got a 0.44 build on it. So one of the coolest parts about this tank is that it's got enough airflow that you could run a super low parallel, 0.15, 0.2 coil, or if you want to build a little bit bigger, more flavor coil that's going to save you on battery life, you can do that too. And that's what I did on this 0.4 right here. Super dense vapor, but the flavor is really what gets it for me. I really like the flavor on the original Vandy Kylin, but this one I think is even just that much better because you've got the same kind of airflow dynamic that the original Kylin had, but reduced down with a smaller chamber and a 180 degree half pipe, if you will, with the holes drilled in it, and that's where the airflow comes up through, so it gets it on all sides. So you want to make sure that you build the coil up. I put the middle of it right across the top of that trough or half pipe, if you will, and that allows all 180 degrees of the airflow to catch part of the vapor production coming off of the coil. I wouldn't recommend building smaller than like a 2 millimeter coil. If you're one of those micro coil guys that likes the small coils wicked a little bit looser, this may not be the tank for you. But anybody that wants to experiment with the macro coils or likes a 3 to a 4 millimeter diameter coil, this is the perfect single coil tank for you. The flavor is tremendous. The airflow is dialed perfectly, especially if you like the bigger ones. That's another reason why I'd stay away from the 2.5 to 2 millimeter coils. It's just too much airflow to really do that kind of build justice. Overall, for anything 3 millimeters and above that you can fit in here, super easy to build, super easy to wick. This 5 mil tank actually lasts me quite a while. Surprisingly, normally I would fill up a 5 mil tank probably 3-4 times a day if I'm really getting at it. But since it's a single coil, this one I may have to fill up 2-3 times a day if it's a hard day. But I get so much more flavor out of it that I almost like to savor the aftertaste, if you will. So I've really started to dig this tank quite a lot, and I've never really been a big single coil guy. I always feel like double the coils, double the flavor. But this one, I have to give them credit. They really knocked it out of the park with the single coil tank. So, that being said, I'm going to give you my cons. 5 milliliter juice capacity, not the largest tank in the world, but again, it is single coil, so that's maybe a small con. For a lot of you that like the dual coil stuff, it's only single coil compatible. Even if you try to stack them on top of each other, they have to be so small that the wicking would be a nightmare. So that's probably a con, that you can't build dual coils on it. But you can always parallel them, so, you know. The original version I was a big fan of. This one, it seems like they did their homework on the problems they had with the original, and when they came out with the single coil mini version, they knocked it out of the park. You know, the design is nice, the way it fits together is nice, the color options are nice. You get the acrylic drip tip or the black Delrin drip tip with it. The airflow is almost dialed perfectly. The flavor, oh god, the flavor. The flavor on this thing is absolutely nuts. I've never used a single coil tank, and I've got some like RTAs and some crazy stuff like that I paid way too much money for, and it's still not as good as the flavor I get off of this guy, I feel like. That's where it's at. If you want a not oversized single coil specific tank, or you're looking for a tank that's easy to build and gets killer flavor, I would definitely recommend the Kylin Mini. For those of you out there in internet land, we're going to drop the coupon code for you, and you can pick one up at shop.rvavapes.com with this coupon code. They do make them in 4 colors right now, so we'll throw the color variations up right here. Black, gold, rainbow, stainless steel. The black one I've got here is like a matte black, so it's really cool looking, and it looks dope on this Arc mod because that's got kind of a flat black, shiny black thing going on. But all 4 colors really look nice, to be honest with you. But none of them are done poorly. Even the rainbow looks cool, and I'm not really a huge rainbow guy. It's a little flashy for my taste. But that's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. You know the drill. If you want to smoke, that's your business. If you don't,